REMATCH just got some new stats for us to look at from the previous beta test, and these are insane numbers. This game is going to be huge when it comes out on June 19th, and I for one cannot wait to play some more REMATCH. I was addicted to this game in both the betas I participated in, so I'll definitely be doing more videos, so if you want to see that, subscribe for more. But let's get into these numbers for the last REMATCH beta test. Recently, Slowclap released some stats from the beta test that just finished, and honestly, these numbers are very, very impressive. For a beta that was closed, that was invite only. Yes, it was more open this time. You could invite up to 3 friends if you already got your code, and codes from other betas also worked for this one, so you could participate in this one. But the fact it wasn't completely open and it was still getting these numbers is kind of crazy. Active players for the most recent REMATCH beta test was 1,885,382. That is insane. REMATCH is definitely going to be one of the biggest releases this year, and I think that's due to how palatable it is to everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a football fan or not. The gameplay of this is very addicting, it's very fun, it's very satisfying, and clearly everyone thinks the same because these numbers show that everyone wanted a piece of REMATCH. Out of all those players, 6,706,903 matches were played. We actually have some stats of where all those players came from, what system most people were playing the game on, and it looks like the majority of people were playing REMATCH on Steam. 1,594,845 players were playing on Steam during this most recent beta test. 269,874 were on PlayStation, 552 were on Game Pass, and 20,146 were on Xbox. Although I know some of the issues that were going on in this beta test were mostly on Xbox, as far as I know, and it seemed like from what the devs were saying, the Xbox version of this game was the least stable of all the platforms. So them having the least amount of players probably makes sense here, but it does surprise me that the majority of players were coming from Steam. A game like this I would have thought would have blown up on console, especially PlayStation players. FIFA fans would have been eating this game up, and a lot of them are on PlayStation, or at least a console. So for an overwhelming amount of the players to come from Steam alone is actually insane. But it gives me hope that this game is just going to absolutely explode on release, because if the majority of players are coming from Steam, long as there's crossplay, this game is going to be massive. This game is going to have very easy matches to find. The player base will be very, very healthy, and especially when we get to actually sink our teeth properly into a ranked game mode, it's going to be very, very competitive. Now moving on to some other stats that were released, the average match duration was 7 minutes and 48 seconds. For reference, the default timer for a match was 6 minutes. So that means most matches on average went into overtime, which is actually kind of crazy and super exciting because there's nothing better in a football match than a last minute goal. The average overtime duration, this one is very, very surprising to me, was 2 minutes and 58 seconds. That's crazy. But it just shows how competitive the games are. Even at a lower level, they are super competitive. And obviously teamwork is key here, but it's just so close every match. Sure, there'll be the odd match where you get mercy ruled and it's 4-0 and then game's over, but it looks to me like most matches are pretty evenly matched, which is good news because you don't want to get thrashed in a game. That can also ruin the player base's health. People don't want to play the game when they're just getting thrashed all the time. We'll see how that goes on release, because obviously we'll have an infinite amount of time to get used to the game. Players will get better, the skill ceiling will rise, people will work out new tactics, so that gap might increase. But for now, it's looking pretty good. Overall though, 6.25 million hours were spent playing matches. That equals out to 714 years of total playtime. That is a ridiculous number. Just shows how addicting this game was because, look, in the betas alone, I have 50 or 60 hours. It's ridiculous. I was so addicted to this game, and I know so many people were as well. We also got concurrent users over time, and it seems the highest concurrent player count was 221,566. I'm assuming that's across all systems, not just Steam or just PlayStation. And honestly, that's a pretty impressive number to have for concurrent players. Obviously, that's going to increase again on release, long as the game sells well, which I think it will, because like I said, this wasn't a completely open beta. It was invite only. In saying that though, it was pretty easy to get an invite. But if you didn't know about it, or just couldn't be bothered to ask for an invite, then obviously that's going to lower the play count, which is also going to lower the concurrent users over time. Now we're diving into player stats. This is where we're at now for skill level. We've had multiple betas. I've seen some insane clips from people, so many TikToks and shorts of people pulling off insane goals, insane saves. And now we have the stats to go alongside these insane clips. 33.1 million goals were scored, 19.1 million assists, which means about 13 to 14 million goals scored were just solo goals. Whether they were egoists or not, we don't know, but there's nothing wrong with an individual performance. There were 191.9 million passes, which is honestly fantastic because I think team play is going to be very important long term for the game, especially at those higher competitive levels. Different formations, different tactics, different ways of overlapping players on the wings, different passing techniques. It's all going to become really important in those higher ranked matches. So to already see so many passes in the beta alone is really promising. 50.9 million dribbles. Again, that's those individual performances. There's nothing wrong with it, long as you know to pass the ball when you have to. There were 110 million shots on target, and 37.4 million of those were goalkeeper saves. And I just love the way the goalkeeper operates in Rematch, the way you can rotate either after a kickoff or even during a match, just running in and out of the box to switch up the goalkeeper. Maybe the goalkeeper's running out to get a stray ball and you want to make sure that no goal is scored, so you run into the box and now you're the keeper. It's very seamless. It's a really interesting mechanic. I love the way it works. Rematch does a really good job of making goalkeeper very fun, so I can see that being a role that will be very popular amongst players. Even permanently, people will start to main goalkeeper. They will want goalkeeper in every match. I think we're going to see some insane plays in this game. And then we've got some individual player stats. We've got the top 3 players in different categories. So sticking to goalkeepers for now, saves per match for the best goalkeepers, the top 3. This one is actually a top 4 because joint first place was Itora with 5.13, and then we've got a name, unfortunately I cannot read, I don't know what language that is. If you know who that is, let me know in the comments please. I'm so sorry I can't read that. Then in second place we have Ghost Mako with 5.06, and then in third place we have Victor7770 with 5. As far as I know, all these stats for top 3 players and stuff is the average per match, not the total highest for a match or whatever. And honestly, 5 saves per match is a pretty insane average to have. Moving into goals and assists per match, the best strikers were Lethal Shooter, which was very fitting for a name, with 3.61. Soy Undios TT with 3.5. Sorry if I've totally butchered that username. And then the third one, I'm not even going to try. It's just the jumble of letters in my head with a 3.48. I'm so sorry. These usernames are just going to get past me at this point. So it's very cool to see that actually the best strikers in the beta test were getting hat tricks for most of their games. And honestly, I would love to see some kind of special celebration or something on the screen when someone does get a hat trick. There's a few little nuances I want in the game, like music when someone scores, or like I said, a hat trick, special celebration or something like that. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys want from Rematch. I'm going to do some research and find out everything there is to know about Rematch before it releases, so make sure you subscribe. And also let me know in the comments down below what you guys want from Rematch. Next, we have passes completed per match. These were the best midfielders. At number 1, we have Control with 14.87, very impressive stat. At number 2, we have Moray with 13.87. And in third place, we have Salvaggio Culo, 13.27. I'm sorry, I'm butchering these usernames, man. But honestly, very impressive stats from our midfielders. I feel like someone that's going to get good at a midfielder role, that's going to sort of make that their main thing, is probably going to be a key player in this game, more so than a striker or a defender or a goalkeeper. Because the setup for goals is the most important part, in my opinion, in football. Because the easier the setup for the striker, the easier the goal is going to be for the striker to actually score. And then we have interceptions per match. This is the best defenders in the beta. We have K with 21.69. Not sure what letter that is, but it's another letter username with 21.58. And then in third place, we have Step Craig with 21.88. 18th. This stat being so high doesn't really surprise me because there were some matches where I was getting even like 15 or 19 interceptions per match. And honestly, making an interception and then also taking the ball for a run or pulling off a really cool pass after an interception was very satisfying for me. And then for the last stat, I love that they've put this here. They've put who played the game the most. Again, I'm going to butcher the username, but I think it's Ilkuviral, who played 61 hours and 12 minutes across 504 matches. And honestly, and I hate to admit it, I'm not too far off that, I don't think. I don't know my total matches played, but on Steam, I played 49.5 hours, but that's across both betas, not just the one. For this beta, I had 32.5 hours. So half that time. Take that as you will. I don't know. Maybe a lot of you had higher playtime than that. I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, when the servers went down the first time, the Discord went nuts. And I find it so cool that the devs brought it back just because PSG won the Champions League for another day of beta testing. And then when it got closed again, obviously the Discord went nuts a second time, saying one more day. But honestly, happy for the devs to cook. Happy for the devs to get the game as smooth as possible for its release on June 19th. I cannot wait for this game. This is going to be a game that I'm going to play for a very long time. I'm probably going to make quite a bit of content on this game. I've already done like a funny moments highlights video with my friends and some of our highlights from the most recent beta test. So if you haven't seen that, go watch that video. It's honestly really funny, and Rematch is just a really good time. If you can get a group together or even just one person that you can regularly play games with, Rematch is a really, really fun time. So cannot wait for its release on June 19th, June 16th if you get the early access. But let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of these stats. Do you think you were pretty close yourself to some of these stats? Let me know in the comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more Rematch content. Like I said, I'm going to be doing plenty more videos on this game. Become a member today if you want to support me in another way. You'll get early access videos and live streams. And thank you so much for watching this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!